Hey, Christy Renee here. Good morning. Today is Wednesday. I think it's the 13th of January, February, March, 13th of March, 2024. So we're kind of a third of the way through this year, which is flying by at record speed. I don't know where time has gone. And what I've been doing since my death experience is just kind of understanding. There's been all kinds of messages coming through and craziness, and I keep thinking I need to get on here and just put some of it up. So I figure if it helps me, it might help you, and then you can share it and it might help somebody else. That's always my thought process with this stuff. But I haven't been doing it, so I need to get on it. But this one I thought was pretty, I don't know, it kind of blew my mind. So I've been sitting here playing with it. And so I want to share this with you, but if you don't mind, please like, share, and subscribe this video. Like I said before, if it helps me and if it helps you, it'll probably help somebody else. And if it doesn't help them the way it helped me or helps possibly you, maybe it'll just give them a different idea of a way to do things, right? So it just kind of opens up your world a little bit more, kind of ideas. So basically, I just now had something coming through and trying to understand it. So I'm sitting here making notes and writing stuff down, and I want to share it with you real quick because I did think it was pretty interesting and possibly profound. On the level that you can work on things and do things for yourself, this could be a really good thing. So I want to talk to you for a second about the pituitary gland, which, if you don't know much about, it's a pea-sized gland located at the base of the brain. It's surrounded by bone, and it is the operation of pituitary is to regulate the many hormones that control various functions and organs within the body. So it's got a lot of responsibility. It's a pretty big deal. The posterior pituitary acts like a sort of a storage area for the hypothalamus, which is also in the brain, and it passes on hormones that control functions of the muscles and kidneys. The anterior pituitary produces its own hormones, which help to regulate several endocrine functions. All right, so pituitary, base of the brain. Kind of close your eyes and see if you can feel for it and find it. Because if you can find it, then it's easier to do some of this stuff. So close your eyes and see if you can perceive it inside yourself. Now, the reason why we're talking about the pituitary, we're also going to talk about the pineal gland. I'm not going to describe it because most people know what that is, where that is, and what in a higher regard we think it's used for, right, on the spiritual side of it. For perception of higher dimensions and that kind of thing, and higher understanding also, right? So even within your own self, it helps give us higher understanding. So what's come across is that the pituitary is, you can look at the pituitary because it's controlled by it gives hormonal function to the system. That hormonal function not only causes your body to function, but it also gives you feelings. Hormones and chemicals cause feelings inside of our body, yes? Those feelings have a direct relationship to our personality. If you're an angry person, a happy person, a joyful person, a sad person, those feelings can help direct and dictate the way you think, and vice versa. That can work both directions. It's not a one-way street at all, but it can work both directions. But by the way you feel, you will start to cause the world around you, right? So it's a personality thing. So we could say that the pituitary is responsible in part for establishing your personality, right? It helps to establish your personality. So personality operating through the pituitary body, we're going to look at it like that. Now, through the pineal gland, because it perceives higher dimensions, people look at it like it's this, it's the seat of your soul, right? So the soul operating through the pineal gland is one thing. The personality operating through the pituitary is another thing. And because they both have hormonal function, they both cause chemicals to come into the system, which causes operation of the physical body. They have direct impact on who you are as a person, on your personality. So in that, right, we could say what I'm kind of alluding to is that if your pineal gland and your pituitary body vibrated in unison, if your personality and your soul vibrated in unison. Do you see where I'm going with this? If you vibrate in unison, and the text that I was reading before said that if the personality and the soul vibrate in unison, and they were specifically talking about the glands, if the pineal and the pituitary vibrated in unison, together they create a magnetic field. In my estimation, I'm going to say it's a plasmoid field, but either way, you create a field of energy that's strong enough to cause a light, what is called, right, the light in the head, or around the head, right? You see the gold halos. And there's many ways to create this, but apparently this is one of them. When you have your light activated or your halo activated, it's much easier to astral project, to astral travel. All of these kind of things just kind of open up a little bit more to you. These kind of ideas of things that we can move our soul body, our spirit body out of this dimension and leave the physical body here intact to come back to. Why I find this super interesting is because as I was sitting here looking at this, I understood pieces that I'm missing, right? I said that before, pieces that we're missing. And I asked myself the question, is my personality in unison with my soul? Is my personality in unison with my soul? And you could sit there and contemplate on that for a long time. And, you can come up with all kinds of interesting stuff where it's out of balance or stuff isn't quite what it should be. But think about your soul in its origin, coming into this iteration, into this lifetime. It was a very pristine, clean, pure being. Your soul was spotless, right? There was nothing attached to this, right? And then people labeled it. You came into this world, you got labeled. My first label obviously was Christy Renee. Hopefully that was my first label. And then you started getting programmed, right? Do, don't, can, can't, should, shouldn't, all the yeses and nos. And, think of all the statements. You're good enough, you're not good enough. And the contradictory nature of these statements can cause all kinds of issues in your system, especially stuff like, you're good enough, you're not good enough, or I love you, I hate you, right? There was a lot of that in my world when I was young. But it creates a personality. That creates who you are. And you feel when somebody says something like that to you. You get the feeling, right? And you permanently get programmed by the nature, especially 0 to 7 years old. And that the kind of the prime opportunity. But I think even after that, as you carry those things forward, or even if it started later and you work them over enough, you program yourself just the same. So your personality, is it in alignment with your soul? To get clear, I would definitely say sit down and do some contemplation work on it, right? Ask yourself questions. Go into a heart coherent state. Ask yourself questions. Contemplate it a little bit. To get clear in this iteration, I believe you do need to bring the vibration of the soul and the vibration of the personality into unison. How was I just now playing with this? I am a dowser amongst many other things, so I had my dowsing chart out. And I kind of do the Raymond Grace idea. If you don't know who he is, look Raymond Grace up. I love his book, Things That I Have Used Before That Worked, or something like that. Absolutely fantastic words. But what I did was on the dowsing chart, I asked if I could work on myself. I do my clearing work off the top first. And then I asked, is my spirit in alignment? Is my soul in alignment with my personality? And I got a no. And I asked, for a percentage, what percentage of my soul is out of alignment with my personality? So from 1 to 100, I'm going to say this is either 65 or 70% is out of alignment. So on the chart I'm using this inside dial here, and when I'm dowsing, it starts pointing here kind of in between the 6 and the 7. All right. So the percentage of that would be 60 to 70% out of alignment, which is kind of huge. That's over 51%, right? That's pretty bad. So then I asked if I could bring the vibration of my soul and personality into unison, into alignment, into harmony. As all the wonderful words like that. My dowsing rod, my pendulum started spinning counterclockwise, so as if removing something. I let it go for as long as it needs to go, asking, kind of staying in alignment with it. Now, a lot of times people will douse and then they'll start talking and doing other things while they're I stay in contact with what's going on. If I'm working by myself, I will stay in contact with what's going on. So while it's spinning counterclockwise, I'm in tune, right? I want to know what is going on. And I ask my spirit, show me what's going on while we're doing this. At the point that it finally stopped and it started actually going up and down toward just straight up and down, I let it do that for a couple minutes because it didn't feel like it was finished, because it kept swinging. Like it's still swinging when I'm doing this as I'm talking. It's still swinging pretty good. So I'm just watching, and then it started swinging clockwise. So what we're doing, remember what we're doing is bringing the vibration of the soul and the personality into unison and bringing them into a harmonic state. And I'm feeling while I'm doing this. I want you to keep feeling and keep noticing. Notice fluctuations in your body and your energy field. See if you can perceive outside the physical. Just feel, just keep noticing and feeling. At the time, and this only took a couple of minutes, it went back to pointing yes, which is what it's doing now again. So this is the second time I've rolled through this. And I asked if I was finished, and when I usually ask if it's finished, it will come to a dead stop. I wish I could show you how fast it does that, but it comes to a dead stop, hanging right in the center. And then I put my hands back over my heart and I go into gratitude. And then I'm just being the curious observer. Observe inside yourself what feels different. The litmus test is always the same. Go walk your day out. Go walk out your day and see what's different. Notice in areas where you would normally have a personality disruption of emotion, notice what's different. Notice what feels different. Notice how you respond differently to things around you. And just be open and curious. That's all you can do anyway, right? So my goal for this week is to start bringing my soul and my personality back into a unison where they're working functionally together. They are coherent, they are harmonic, and seeing what this brings about in my world. I hope this blesses you. I hope that was some kind of fun. If you go back through that little part where I was actually dousing you and just showing you how to do it, put yourself in my seat. Imagination is huge. Imagination is energy. There is no difference and there's no separation. Do you understand that? If you do, put yourself in my seat and let that be your work. And then feel and then notice, and you can bring that back up anytime you want to and do it again. Which is probably what I'm going to be doing 2 or 3 times today, is doing this exact thing over again just to see if I'm maintaining alignment, because we have a tendency to shift in and out. And I'm tired of that shifting. I want to be in a state of unison and harmony throughout my whole system. All of the work I've done over the course of my whole life, I don't believe I've ever done anything so direct as to look at my personality and my soul and ask if they were in alignment or not. I was missing that piece. If you had it, congratulations. I did not. Now maybe I can catch up a little bit. God bless you. Thank you for being here, and I will speak to you again soon.